It was a chilly October evening when Ashley, a young journalist with an insatiable curiosity for the unknown, arrived in the town of Grandville. Drawn by the legends of the haunted hotel, she had come to investigate the truth behind the stories that had plagued the town for decades. The town, seemingly frozen in time, welcomed her with wary eyes and hushed voices. As she walked through the cobblestone streets, she couldn't help but feel an unsettling presence in the air, as though the very town itself held secrets it was reluctant to reveal. Ashley's quest led her to the doorstep of the Grandcrest Hotel. Its imposing facade loomed over her, its windows shattered, and its walls crumbling. She hesitated for a moment, her heart racing, before summoning the courage to enter. The lobby was a haunting scene frozen in time. Dust-covered chandeliers hung from the ceiling, their crystal prisms reflecting dim light from the moon. Tattered velvet curtains framed shattered windows, and the once luxurious furniture lay in ruins. It was a place where the echoes of laughter and clinking glasses had been replaced by an eerie silence. Ashley's footsteps echoed as she moved deeper into the lobby, her flashlight revealing faded portraits of bygone guests and forgotten staff. Each face seemed to bear the weight of the hotel's dark history, eyes that had seen horrors beyond imagination. As she approached the front desk, she noticed an old ledger. It was a record of the hotel's guests, dating back to the 19th century. Ashley began to flip through its yellowed pages, uncovering tales of vanished guests, unexplained phenomena, and a disturbing number of entries with the same check-in and check-out date. Ashley couldn't resist the pull of the mysterious room. With a sense of trepidation, she followed the creaking staircase up to the third floor, where room awaited. The hallway was dark, lit only by the pale moonlight seeping through broken windows. As she approached the room, a feeling of dread settled in her chest. The door swung open with an eerie creak, revealing a room frozen in time. The furniture was perfectly preserved, as if waiting for guests who would never return. Dusty curtains billowed in the breeze from shattered windows, casting eerie shadows across the room. Ashley placed her bag on the bed and began to unpack her equipment: a digital recorder, a camera, and an electromagnetic field detector. She was determined to capture evidence of the hotel's haunting, to prove to the world that the legends were not just tales spun by fearful townsfolk. As the night wore on, Ashley began to feel the oppressive weight of the room. She could hear faint whispers in the air, indistinct murmurs that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. The electromagnetic field detector flickered erratically, its lights dancing to an unseen rhythm. With her camera in hand, Ashley attempted to capture the mysterious voices on tape. "Is anyone here?" she asked, her voice trembling. There was a moment of silence, and then a chilling response. "We are all here." The voice seemed to emanate from the walls themselves, a chorus of ghostly echoes that sent shivers down Ashley's spine. She snapped photos in every direction, hoping to catch a glimpse of the unseen entities that surrounded her. As the night deepened, the room grew colder, and Ashley's breath formed mist in the air. Shadows moved in the corners of the room, taking on sinister shapes. Objects shifted on their own, and the curtains rustled as if touched by invisible hands. Ashley spent days and nights in room, documenting the paranormal activity that seemed to intensify with each passing hour. She listened to the voices of the past, piecing together the tragic history of the Grandcrest Hotel. The hotel had been built in the late 1800s by a wealthy industrialist named Samuel Caldwell. He had spared no expense in creating a luxurious retreat for the elite. The hotel flourished for decades, but its prosperity came at a terrible cost. In the early 1900s, the town of Grandville was struck by a devastating plague. Hundreds fell ill, and the townsfolk, desperate to contain the outbreak, quarantined the afflicted in the very hotel that had once symbolized opulence and comfort. Room 313, it seemed, had served as the makeshift infirmary, where countless lives were lost in agony. As Ashley uncovered this dark history, She couldn't help but wonder if the tortured souls of those who had perished in the hotel's past still lingered, unable to find peace. Driven by a mixture of curiosity and dread, Ashley decided to conduct a seance in room 313. She reached out to a local psychic, Madame Leclerc, who claimed to have a connection with the spirit world. Together, they gathered in the dimly lit room, candles flickering as they prepared to make contact with the other side. As they began the seance, a heavy silence enveloped them. Ashley's recorder captured their every word as they called out to the spirits, asking them to communicate. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew out the candles, plunging the room into darkness. In the pitch-black room, Ashley felt a presence near her. Cold fingers brushed her skin, and a voice whispered in her ear, "Help us." Madame Leclerc, her voice trembling, called out to the spirits, pleading for them to reveal their story. The room seemed to come alive with spectral energy, as a chorus of voices filled the air, recounting tales of suffering and despair. Through the voices of the spirits, Ashley and Madame Leclerc learned the horrifying truth. The souls of the plague victims had never found release. Trapped in a never-ending nightmare, they yearned for closure, for a chance to move on to the afterlife. Ashley felt a deep sense of compassion for these tormented souls. Determined to help them find peace, she embarked on a quest to uncover a forgotten ritual, one that could break the curse that bound them to the hotel. Ashley delved into ancient texts and consulted experts in paranormal studies. She discovered an obscure ritual, one that required a powerful cleansing of the hotel and a channeling of positive energy to guide the trapped souls to the light. With the help of Madame Leclerc and a small group of volunteers, they set out to perform the ritual in the heart of the hotel. Candles were lit, incense wafted through the air, and a circle of salt was drawn on the floor to create a protective barrier. As the ritual began, the hotel seemed to come alive with spectral activity. Shadows danced on the walls, and a chilling wind swept through the room. The volunteers chanted words of peace and forgiveness, their voices growing louder with each repetition. As the ritual reached its climax, a blinding light filled the room, and a sense of profound serenity washed over Ashley. She felt the presence of the trapped souls, now free from their torment, as they ascended towards the light. With tears in her eyes, Ashley knew that she had